Hello everyone, this is everything that sold on our Blondie and the Beard eBay store August 2025. At the Goodwill bins, we found this adorable plush Pokemon Sleeping Squirtle. He was always my favorite, and we got him for about 25 cents and he sold for $8. So this yard sale was really fun. They had a table full of free items and these little dolls were already zipped up in a baggie ready to go, and they sold pretty quickly for $11.11. At a rummage sale, we found a huge bag full of vintage magnets for only $1. These 5 had really cute pictures with the recipes, so I lotted them up and they sold for $10.99. For 25 cents at a yard sale, my husband picked up this Disney Dumbo card holder. It did have some wear and tear, but it still sold for $10. This little guy was really cool. Anything carved wood has become my favorite. The work that goes into these items is just really neat to me. My husband found this little guy at a yard sale for $1 and it sold for $12.80. This was a really fun yard sale. We found a handful of vintage cast iron banks. Because we bought them all, the lady ended up giving us a really good deal. We probably paid under $1 for each item. This one was actually a bank building and it sold for $40. At a rummage sale for only $5, we found 2 huge boxes full of vintage cake toppers. I lotted up this set of 7 wedding toppers and they sold for $25. For 25 cents at a yard sale, we found this black Sabbath t-shirt and it sold for $30. We found this mini Mix-It Tupperware set for $1 at a yard sale. It was all still new in box. Even though the box did have some wear and tear, it sold for $17.60. At Goodwill for $3, we found this vintage 1975 Christian board game called Ungame. It was still brand new and it sold for $16.20. At our very first yard sale ever, we found a box full of vintage figurines, many from Japan. We paid $7 for that box and many sold since then. This one finally found her home and sold for $15. At the Goodwill bins for under $1, I found 4 of these vintage 2008 Anna Lee Peppermint Twist elves. I lotted these 2 up and they sold for $25. At the Goodwill bins for under $1, I found this purple and turquoise platypus, a very unique little guy. Even his tail was made out of sequins. Super cute. He sold for $15. For 50 cents at a yard sale, we found this adorable vintage deer figurine. This little cutie sold for $25. At the Goodwill bins for under $1, we found the set of 2 vintage Disney Christmas lights. I was able to test the lights before buying them and I was so shocked they actually worked, and they sold for $20. Again, I was so excited picking this piece up. We found this beautiful hand-carved wooden American Eagle at a yard sale for only $1. I was so tempted to keep this one, but I know I can't keep everything. This little beauty sold for $50. Last but certainly not least, we found this One Direction Build-A-Bear at a rummage sale for under $1. Some Build-A-Bears are not worth picking up, but some do sell pretty dang good. We did have someone buy this bear. They messaged us and they put in an offer for $70. We did accept their offer, and it does happen, but they ended up canceling their order. Thankfully, before we shipped the bear out, just a couple weeks later, someone actually bought this little cutie and he sold for $80.